touch base on your book, brand new, coming out 2013, I believe, or 2014. Um,
That's right, yes. It'll be out in April of 2014.
2014. I haven't been able to get a hand on my copies, so do you mind tell me a quick summary of what the book's about?
Well, the book is trying to explain what war has done in human history. And the argument of the book is that there's a great paradox, that war has in fact made the world a safer and richer place, which sounds completely mad. But when you look at the long-term record of history and archaeology and biology, it seems to be pretty clear what's happened, that war has been the only force in human history that's led to the creation of larger societies. And these societies then pacify themselves internally. And so even though they fight ever fiercer wars against each other, the rate of violent death and the risk that any one of us is going to die violently has steadily fallen throughout history. So I try to trace this story, explain what's going on, and then look a little bit at what's going to happen in the future as we go on through the 21st century.
And with combat and different wars going on, as you can see, the Syrian wars gone dragged on as well, and you're seeing different guerrilla type of warfare. Does that differ from what you've seen maybe 1,000, 2,000 years ago, even farther beyond that? Has that kind of warfare?
Yeah, the wars going on now, of course the weapons are different, and a lot of the technical side is different, but in many ways we still fight in much the way that we used to do. It's just that we do it a lot less. And say, the Syrian civil war, more than 100,000 people died in 2012, and yet that 100,000 people, that was less than 1 out of every 400 Syrians. If we went back, if we lived in the Stone Age, what we would have would be a situation where the killing isn't going as fast as it is currently in Syria, but it's going on relentlessly. It's not a war that ends after a few years, it's constantly going on. And the result was, overall, you were much more likely to die violently in the Stone Age than you are now.
Now, how does your approach differ from other historians, where you might take a broader scope and other people decide to specialize in a certain era?
Yeah, I think historians generally tend to focus on very short periods of time and quite small places. And I think that's understandable, because the normal method is you go to an archive, you learn the languages, and you burrow into this little piece of evidence and you really get to know it inside out. And if we didn't have historians doing that, then we wouldn't know anything for certain. We wouldn't have any proper scholarship. But the other side of it is, if you just do that, then you can never really see the big picture. And so what I try to do is back up from the details and get a much broader perspective on things. So looking at the whole world, not just at one place, looking back at least as far as the end of the last ice age, 15,000 years ago. And I think when you do that, you see these big patterns with really powerful long-term explanations. And I think once you see the big patterns, you begin to get a sense of where things might go in the future.
And this will be the last question. When you look back on your years as a historian and all that, almost like in a modern day Indiana Jones, where you've gone from the field to the classroom. Looking back, what do you want your legacy to be, or what will be your crowning achievement do you want?
My legacy, wow. I guess one of the things that would make me happiest is if more historians started looking at the really big picture. I think this is something that archaeologists do a lot. You regularly, as an archaeologist, will look at 10, 20,000 years of the past, but historians do tend to look at these very small chunks. And I think until we get the two groups working together more, we're never really going to make sense of the big picture. So if I can persuade more historians that there's a big payoff from looking at the big picture, then I'll be very happy.